I lived here in Troy. I used to coach cheerleading for little ones. They have since, some of them went to Michigan and graduated, are now parents, so aging myself a little bit. But I remember being upstairs teaching here on Saturday mornings, and it was a lot of fun to just do that as a little side gig, as I did admissions work at that time as well. So nice to be here. So how many of you are seniors? All right, how many of you have started your common application? How many of you have hit the send button? Okay, oh, a couple of you. All right, good job. All right, I may start reading tomorrow. I don't know, it's probably not gonna happen. I was thinking I might, but probably another couple weeks. I'm headed out to do some out-of-state travel starting on Sunday, so I will not be in the office next week. So if you need to get in touch with me, you're gonna need to wait a little bit until I return, since I'm not able to answer a lot of messages when I'm out recruiting and driving around. All right, how many of you are juniors? Great, good, thank you for coming. Any sophomores or freshmen? Okay, so, all right, how many of you have been to the University of Michigan campus? How many have been on an official U of M tour? Did any of you meet me on the tour? Yay, all right, great. All right, well, we do have tours, and we do strongly encourage that you tour campus, right? So we have tours on Mondays, Fridays, and Saturdays during the fall. We do stop right before Thanksgiving week because our students do go home to spend time with their families, and our tour guides are students. So we offer them the Monday of the week of Thanksgiving, and then we hold off until a little bit later. We have a little bit of tours scheduled in December, but then they start going, taking their final exams, and then they go home as well. So then we start back up in January. So I would strongly suggest doing it in November or October. We still have spaces available at this time, so go ahead and sign up. It is really good to have a tour. I have a senior at my house, and we have been on a lot of tours for him, and every single tour we went on, he bought a shirt, and so did I. So I bought him a shirt at this one tour we went to in the spring, and he wears it all the time. Every week I'm seeing him wearing it to school, right? And he told me about 20 minutes after I bought it that I love the shirt. However, I'm not applying to the school. It's not the right fit. How many of you are in debate? Anybody? All right, he's a debater. So, all right. So he gave me about 10 reasons why it wasn't the right fit. So fit is really important. So when you tour a campus, you set foot on a campus, you're going to kind of realize, like, does this seem like the right fit for me? Okay, or maybe not. Wasting time and money applying. Young man, are you taking a seat right here? Sir, are you sitting in a chair, or are you just visiting with friends? Then let's get in there. I'm talking. Thank you. Let's be respectful. Thank you. All right. So I am the person that will be reviewing each and every one of your applications at the University of Michigan. So when you apply, I will be the one to see it and read it and make a recommended decision on your application. So throughout the process, again, the visit is really important. Spending some time getting ready to do your applications. Those of you that are juniors, starting to think about what schools do I want to apply to? Where do I want to visit to make sure it's, a fit that I can see myself there? What types of things do I want colleges to know about me in the application process? At Michigan, you apply to a specific college or school. Some schools, you just apply to their university. So knowing the differences, right? So the first thing you need to decide when you're looking at a Michigan application is which college or school do I want to apply to within the university? LS&A is our largest, literature, science, and the arts. How many of you are interested in that or undecided? Okay, largest school. What about the College of Engineering? Anybody interested in that? All right, do you love math? You have to show me that in your application. Really important, all right? What about kinesiology? Anybody interested in that? No? All right, what about the School of Nursing? Yes? Okay, have you done something nursing related? Yes? What have you done? You went to camps? Nursing camp. Good. Okay. That's great. Make sure that's on your application. All right, and then we have our talent-based programs. School of Architecture and Urban Planning. Anybody interested in that area? Okay, fabulous. They will look at a portfolio in terms of your admission. So I'm going to review it from an academic standpoint. Then if it passes that portion, I will send it over to architecture. Those folks will decide on your portfolio. I can't judge what looks good, right? I know what I like, but I'm not trained in architecture. What about art and design, the Stamp School of Art and Design? Anybody interested in that? Same type of thing. Okay, portfolio, okay, is required. Same thing. Something beyond stick figures, all right? But they want to see that you have potential. They want to be able to teach you, so you don't have to have it mastered yet. But a lot of different mediums is what they look at in your portfolio. So check out their website, and it will show you exactly what they're going to look at. Is anyone interested in the School of Music, Theater, and Dance? Yes? Okay, which area? Okay, that's good. What about you, right there? Piano performance? Great. All right, anybody else? Music, theater, and dance? Okay, which area? Musical theater. Oh, I love musical theater. In a few weeks, I'm very excited because I'm going to go see one of our alums from our musical theater program who will be in Boston. Just a heads up, if you're interested in this, you can get tickets today. I have to get my tickets yet, so don't take them all. But he will be in Detroit performing in the end of November, beginning of December, mid-December. I think the 17th is the last day of the performance in Detroit. Frozen on Broadway. Dominic Dorset, who is a musical theater grad from the University of Michigan, also a good friend of my daughter who went to my kids' high school, friends with the parents. So I went to Grand Rapids and saw him in July. He's amazing, incredible. You guys can search him. And he plays the role of Kristoff. He does a great job. And he will be in Boston, and I'm going to see him there. And then I'm going to see him in Detroit. So I told his mom I'm becoming a groupie, but I'm just so proud of him, and he's done such a great job. So check that out, all right? Requires an audition, all right? I've sat in on their auditions many years ago, and it's pretty exciting. So competitive, the most competitive school at the University of Michigan, 10 or 11 males, 10 or 11 females each year into the program, but incredible, and I would love to see you as part of that. All right. Those are the colleges or schools that you apply to as incoming freshmen. Anyone interested in the Ross School of Business? All right, that's very popular. So let me talk about that. It's a two-tiered process. So the Ross School of Business, you apply typically during early action. When is that deadline? Great. Okay, you guys got that down. November 1. You apply early action, and hopefully you're admitted to LS&A, for example, and you select the box that says Ross Preferred Admission. They have a few additional requirements that you'll need to submit. Typically have them in, December or so. So you have a little more time to get those in past the November 1st deadline. Once you have been admitted, hopefully, to, let's say, LS&A, at the end of January is when we send out our admissions decisions. You find out you're admitted, then we send it over to Ross. They will then review your application. So I do not review the Ross portion. The Ross School of Business does that portion. But first you have to be admitted in order for them to review it. And then Ross will start rolling out their decisions. They want about 500 in their class, so it is competitive. They'll start rolling out their decisions in February. They're very transparent. It's on their website. They release on Fridays at 5 p.m., and they're specific Fridays, and they'll state that on their website. So you can pull up your portal, which you'll be assigned to once you apply. You'll access your portal, and you'll be able to see your decision on the date that they are posting. But you have to be admitted first. So one of my daughter's friends many years ago came up to me at the dance studio and said, okay, Mrs. Bryant, I was admitted to LS&A. Unfortunately, I was not admitted to Ross. I was admitted to another BBA program in another school I really like. What should I do? And I said, well, I can't answer that question. Only you can answer that question. You need to ask yourself, do I want a BBA because you've been admitted to a BBA program that's strong somewhere else, or do I want to attend the University of Michigan for a University of Michigan degree? You can still go into business that way. I have a friend of mine that did his undergrad at Michigan, went to law school in Texas, was in law practice for a while, started doing some business stuff on the side, now is a business owner and thriving. So you can definitely go into business in any different major, right? But not by earning a BBA if you're not admitted to Ross. So she ended up deciding to pursue the BBA route. All right, somebody else may say, nope, I want to have a University of Michigan degree. Her sister went to Michigan. I think she wanted to have her own path and her own experience at a different place. She just graduated, so I heard that she really loved the program. So that is definitely, something you need to ask yourself if you're not admitted into the Ross School of Business. But you first have to be admitted to LS&A in order to be considered. So that's why it's important to apply during early action. If you apply during our regular process, which is the February 1st deadline, Ross is starting to fill up. They hold a few spaces, but not as many. So it's best to apply early on to give yourself more opportunity. How many of you are interested in computer science? Okay, so last year we started a new computer science admissions program where our faculty felt we had so much interest in computer science, which, all the coding and everything, it's just really, AI, it is really become popular. So, and it leads to a very strong career, right? So many students want to do that, and they didn't have enough space in order to accommodate all the classrooms that students wanted to go into. So they decided they were going to limit their computer science and have a cohort come in as incoming freshmen and limit that to 500. So you will need to indicate advanced selection, computer science, if you know that's what you want to pursue, 100%. And that would be applying to LS&A and selecting that box, or applying to the College of Engineering and selecting that box. Those are the two options. So first you would be admitted to engineering, let's say. 2 weeks later, you find out, yes, you are also selected to have computer science as your major. So that is the only time where you can declare a major within a unit like that, within a college or school, is the computer science portion. If they say, no, you're not admitted to computer science, you can't major in computer science at Michigan. That door's shut, unfortunately. So you could do data science, you could do mathematics, a lot of different things if you're admitted, but you cannot pursue a bachelor's degree with that major. So if you know you really want to do that and you get into computer science somewhere else at another institution, that might be the best decision for you. If you decide, nope, I'm okay with data science, or I'm not really sure that that's 100% what I want to do, then don't apply to the computer science portion. Apply in general. Then later when you're in school, after 1 year, if you say, yes, I really love computer science, I didn't apply out of high school, but I think I'm interested now, they'll save some spaces, about 100, and you can also apply as a cross campus at that time, and they will take some students then. But you can have applied earlier from high school. Once you do that, it's a one and done deal, very much like the Ross School of Business. Does everybody understand that? Okay. Anybody interested in the School of Education? Okay. Do you want a teaching degree? Okay. So, if you want a teaching degree, the School of Education is the way to go. They do have a new program this year. It does not lead to a teaching degree, though. So students have to know that up front. They're going to have information sessions pretty soon at their school, so you could go to that if you're interested. They're trying this new program this year. It's a small cohort, 20 students. You will be housed in Detroit at Mary Grove College. You will not be in Ann Arbor. So that is definitely, you need to know that going in. You start your college career at Mary Grove, you take classes there, you live there. They're building the residence hall right now, updating it. So you'll be living in the residence hall, you'll be taking classes there, you'll be immersing yourself in Detroit, doing a lot of community service type work. So it really is leading to a common good type position. So working with community-based organizations, working with trio groups, things like that. So if you really have a passion for that and giving back and in through education and educating for the common good, that might be something you're interested in. But again, only 20 students. You will be in Detroit. You will not be in Ann Arbor. So keep that in mind. If you have questions, reach out to me, reach out to the School of Education. They're gonna, again, they plan to hold some sessions so they can give students more information about it pretty soon. So just check their website and learn more about that. Other schools you can apply to, the Ford School of Public Policy is a little bit later. Is anybody interested in that? No? Okay. So that is a very popular program as well. Pharmacy, there's some other ones. So you apply once you're in college, the end of your sophomore year is when you declare your college major. So you have time to do that. So you start out in one of those majors and then pursue from there. Same for engineering. You don't need to know that, yes, I want to be a chemical engineer at this point. You just know I want to go into engineering. You'll have the opportunity your first year in college at Michigan to take classes that showcase all of the different majors so you can kind of get a flavor of what that would be. You can also take part on our solar car team and a lot of our team projects that we have in the College of Engineering that are really helpful to kind of navigate what area you're interested in. So keep that in mind as you go through the process. All right, so when I'm looking at your applications, very soon, what do you think the most important factor is going to be when I'm looking at your application? Yep. GPA, exactly. Grade point average. How do we look at that at Michigan? We look at 9th, 10th, and 11th grade, all courses. 9th, 10th, and 11th, all courses. An A minus, an A plus is considered a 4.0. A B minus, a B plus is a 3.0. So seniors, you can look at your transcript all 3 years and use that scale, and you will know the GPA that I'm going to be looking at when I look at your application. Juniors, at the end of this year, you can do that as well. What is our average 50th percentile GPA? It's in the publication I just passed out. 3.9, thank you. So 25% of our students are below that, 25% are above that in terms of their recalculated GPA based on our scale. So you'll kind of see where you fall. What's the next factor I'm going to look at? Extracurricular, essays are good. What else? Test scores. Absolutely. How many of you are taking an SAT on Saturday? Is anybody taking it at St. John's High School? That's where I'm driving. I'm not taking it, but my senior is. All right. You guys are taking them far away, right? You know, everybody's like going to Flint and different places. All right. So we look at your highest test score. SAT, ACT, it doesn't matter. We do super score. So your highest math, your highest English, we will combine those to come up with a brand new score. You just need to self-report. You don't have to have them officially sent in anymore. You will if you enroll at Michigan. We are requiring that after you enroll. But at this point during the application process, all you need to do is self-report it on your application. So you put the date. So you'll put this Saturday's date, for example, when you're filling out your application, and then you will put in your scores that you received. If you took it back in August, you'll put that date, and you'll have the scores listed. We will, in turn, super score it for you. We don't want you to do that. We want you to put actual scores from actual dates, whether it's ACT or SAT. And we'll look at that highest score, and that's what I will be looking at when I'm evaluating your application. Yes, Ann? It is. It's for all classes. So we don't put extra weight into AP classes at the time of recalculating your GPA. We're looking at the GPA, and then we're going to look at test scores, and then we look at some other stuff. All right, so as far as the test scores, again, you can take them as many times as you want. List them there. We're going to look at your strongest scores. All right? If you do not decide to submit an SAT or ACT, we are test flexible, which is similar to test optional. If you decide not to do that, that's okay. All right? I've told, my own kids, right? My daughter went through this during COVID, my middle daughter. So I said, okay, so look at the averages to the schools that you're applying to. Where does your test score fall? She only had the opportunity to take one test because of the COVID issues. So she had one test score. And luckily for the schools that she had on her list, she was right in their range or above their range. So that's how you should look at it. So in that brochure I gave you, it has our range for ACT and SAT. So you can look and say, okay, this is what I scored. So it's in the middle, it's in that range, or it's above that range. Then I would suggest sending it. I can't tell you to submit it or not to submit it. That's up to you. If it's lower, I would encourage you to maybe rethink that, okay? So send it if it is, report it yourself if it is in that range or above it, all right? And you can super score it yourself, right? Looking at your highest subscores. So, GPA test scores, third factor is what? Class rigor, thank you. So, we will be looking at class rigor. So we want to see that you are challenging yourself and taking those rigors. Can you guys maybe pass out some of the posters if they haven't gotten them? That'd be great, thanks. So class rigor, we look at that throughout your entire high school. Did anybody take a foreign language or math in middle school? Okay, so when I see that, and I see that a lot from Troy, which is amazing, so I'm gonna count that as honors courses. Even though there's not an H next to it, you took them before you were slated to take them. So that shows that you are already excelling from middle school. So that's a positive thing. Are you continuing to build that rigor throughout high school? Each year you're adding to your challenge in your curriculum, including senior year. If I see a senior year with no rigor, that's not a positive thing. All right, we don't want people to get senioritis. We don't want you to just say, I'm relaxing my senior year. No, we want you to keep going because we are the leaders and best at Michigan. We want the brightest students there. We want students that are going to challenge themselves throughout high school. So juniors, when you're building your senior year schedule, keep that in mind. With that said, though, I don't want you to necessarily take every AP that's offered, right? My oldest daughter has a friend, and when she was in high school, she was in her AP Lang class, and she was complaining left and right. She said, I hate reading, I hate writing. Oh my goodness, I just hate this. And my daughter loved it, so she was like really bothered by it. And she's like, why are you in this class, Ava? And she said, because my mom said that colleges want to see all these APs, so I had to take it. Not true. I want to see, Ava just graduated from the University of Michigan with engineering. All right, chemical engineering. She has a job in Novi. She's doing great. All right, her APs also were in the math subjects. So if you're applying to engineering, yes, we want to see AP Physics, AP Calculus, AP Chem. That's important. That's going to make you more competitive. Take the classes that you love with the rigor. Okay, that is going to show that you are challenging yourselves. Hopefully getting A's in those courses. You know, B's are okay once in a while. Lower, not as strong. Okay, especially if I see some C's in those STEM classes and you want to go into the College of Engineering. All right, we only have about 1,400 spaces in engineering. So again, those are going to the top students in the STEM area. Okay, GPA, test scores, curriculum, very important. What other things am I going to look at in your application? Essays, that's my favorite, so I'm going to save that for last. Extracurricular, exactly. We are the leaders and best at the University of Michigan. How many of you have a leadership role in something, in school, outside of school? Great, this is a time to brag when you're filling out your applications. I want to see that you're doing that. Did anybody in here go to Girls State or Boys State? Anyone? No? All right, my son was there, so I thought maybe you met him. Kind of cool. Okay, so anybody an Eagle Scout or a Gold Scout? All right, that's a leadership type position, but there's a lot of things that you're doing in school that are considered leadership, okay? Leaders of clubs or organizations, sport teams, captains, all of those things are very, very important, all right? List it, start thinking about it. If you went to a club meeting one time, probably not worth mentioning, all right? But if you're doing other things, how many of you do community service or volunteer work? Great, I think everybody should do that. All right, I very rarely see an application where a student does not put that they have volunteered or had community service. We want students at Michigan that are going to give back and that do that for the good of their community. So if you've done something, but do something you're passionate about, all right? And it really does make you feel good if you've done that. I know my son comes home sometimes after volunteering, and he's just in such a great mood. So it really does help, all right, from seeing it in different eyes. So put that on your application. How many of you work? All right, does anybody work at Somerset? Yes, where do you work? Hollister? All right, I've been in there. Who else works? Somerset? Where? Valet. Oh, you're a valet there. Oh, so you could like drive my car. All right, cool. Okay, you have to take care of it. All right, yes. Where? PacSun. Popular. I heard that the other day. All right. Yeah? All right, great. Nice. I go to Somerset a lot.
Do you valet at Somerset?
I don't, but I should. I know. I should. All right, so let me know where you guys work. All right, so many, many years ago, I lived in Troy, and I really loved living over here and, you know, going to the mall a lot. So I still come back for that mall. May be coming back this weekend as well to do some shopping. So I really love visiting students. So many years ago, I had a student that worked at Hollywood Market on Maple, and that was right near where I lived. So I went in after work, and I asked if he was working, and they said, oh, he doesn't work until Friday. So Friday, I went in, and I said, is Jeff here? And they brought him out, and I said, hi, Jeff, do you know who I am? And he said, you look familiar, but he couldn't quite place me. And I said, well, I'm Kim Bryant. I'm your admissions person at Michigan, and congratulations, you've just been admitted. He was so excited, all right, and I love doing that. I also went into the mall, and there was a store called Limited 2, and there was a young lady from here that was working there, and she was up on a ladder, and she had heard me tell the story when I was here for the visit, and she saw me walk in, and I said her name, and she's like, oh, and I held the ladder so she didn't fall. And she came down, and she was so excited and hugged me and called her mom, and it was her coworkers were very excited for her. I once drove through a Burger King drive-through in Toledo. That was really fun many years ago. And then I was here a couple years ago telling this story, and I had 5 students approach me after the session, and they were super excited, and they said, we all work at the Coney Island down the street. And I knew exactly which one they were talking about because I've eaten there before. And they said, oh, we would love for you to come in. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to take them all a T-shirt, and I am going to go in, and I am going to tell them that they're admitted. And I was so excited. 4 of them were admitted. 1 was not. So I just could not do that to that one student. I felt bad. So I didn't get to visit there. I did go to Chick-fil-A a few years ago to tell a student that he was admitted, and I brought him a shirt. He was a very special student that was like in touch with me throughout the year and was admitted to our nursing program. Really, really, really cool. And I was super excited to meet him in person because his counselor had told me about him. So I went in, and they said, oh, he just quit last week. So I didn't get to meet him at that time, but I did meet him. He came to our campus day program. So I was able to meet up with him there and introduce myself. So please let me know where you guys are working. I love coming over here. I tell my husband sometimes I have to go to work on the weekends, so I come over this way to Somerset. So let me know. And I love coming into new places, and I may tell you in person and congratulate you because I love Michigan so much. So I love spreading the word and getting excited about the admissions process. All right? So brag about yourselves. All right? This is a time to do it. List those activities. Some things I don't like to see. I visit my grandmother. All right, I was very close with my grandmother, and I think visiting her is something that you just do if you have a grandmother around, right? That's very nice. Another thing, I drive my brother to soccer practice. All right. Who's paying for the car? Who's paying for the gas? Who's paying for the insurance? Maybe you are, and good for you, okay? Chances are someone else is. So you need to do that to help out, right? The way that this makes sense where you can list it, and there is a way. Grandma's sick. Every day after school, you go and you cook her dinner. You give her her medicine. You set her up so she's watching her favorite TV show, right? You're caretaking. A sibling. you have a single parent household, or you have both parents that work a lot, and you are responsible for picking up that younger sibling from school, making sure that they get to their activities or help them with homework, cook them dinner, maybe get them ready for bed if they're little, right? That is a caretaker. So you need to talk about that in your application, because that really shows that you have extended family responsibilities, and maybe that's the reason you're not involved in as many extracurricular activities, because you are supporting your family in that way. So that says a lot about your character. So talk about that. All right, even talk about that in your essay. But definitely list that if you're a caretaker. But don't just put that. I did have somebody a couple years ago, they wrote, I got a dog during COVID. They listed this in their activities. I play with him, I feed him, and I walk him. Do not put that. Dogs are cute. I like dogs. I don't have one, but they're cute. If anybody's taken the tour of the University of Michigan, saw the dorm room that I decorated, it's very cool with two of my staff members. If you see a little frame photo on the desk, that's my cat Puffin. She's adorable. She's in a Michigan cheerleading costume, of course. And so check that out if you're in the dorm room. You can see her. But I love my cat. I would never have my kids put anything, take care of the cat and feed the cat, on their college application, right? Not okay. So don't do that. All right, extracurriculars, leadership, community service, volunteer, all great things. What else are we looking at? Besides essays, there's one more thing. Letter of recommendations, yes, okay. So how many of you that are seniors have already asked your teacher to write a letter of recommendation? We just require one. There's multiple in there. You never know which one I'm going to read. So you really want to go to that strongest teacher that you have the best relationship with. Typically, I recommend a junior level teacher. Those of you that are in your junior year, you've just started. By the end of this year, you should identify who you are going to ask to write your recommendation letter. It really should be somebody junior year, because that junior year teacher knows you best. Most recently, they see that maturity throughout high school, and they can comment on that. And it's the most recent. Senior year teachers, you've just started senior year, so it's really hard to ask one of those. All right, so 11th grade is really, really where you should be thinking. So my son Michael, senior right now, right? He has asked his 10th grade honors English teacher to write his recommendation. I am 100% supportive of this. If you've heard this before, do not ruin it. Why? I just told you it should be a junior level teacher. This was his 10th grade honors English teacher. Does not have her again. Because why? He made a good bond. Yes, true. It's honors. Her writing is good because she's an English teacher? No. We don't grade them on their writing as far as recs, so you don't need to ask all the English teachers here to write your recommendation letters. Not at all. Any ideas? Anybody over here? Why would that be a great idea? Yep. What? No, I'm not his English teacher. Thank you so much. All right. So my son met this teacher when he was in 8th grade. She's the debate coach at the high school, and she also coached at the middle school that year when Michael joined debate. So she met him then, so she spent after school time with him, Saturdays doing debate, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, and now senior year, right? So she knows him outside of the classroom as well and can speak to that. So a great teacher to write his recommendation letter. So think about that. My oldest daughter, when she was taking a Spanish class, and she would come home at dinner, and she would talk about Senora. Senora this, Senora that. Every night at dinner, we heard about this woman. And I couldn't wait to finally meet her because I just heard so much about her. My daughter just loved her. So I went to the open house, and I was in line in the Commons, and she had a table, and it was my turn, and I went to sit down, and I said, "Hi, I'm Kim Bryant. I'm Brittany's mom." And she literally grabbed my hands and screamed, so everybody in the Commons looked down our way, and she said, "I love your daughter." So I was a little embarrassed, but the first thing that popped into my admissions brain was, one day she should write her rec letter. So fast forward, and she did indeed write her rec letter. And my daughter, who just graduated from college in May, was just home for a little bit, and they went out for coffee. So they still have this relationship. It's amazing. She just posted on Facebook last night how proud she is of her because she's in Rome right now. So she is still having a great relationship with his teacher. It was a mutual respect. They both loved the subject, and they both really respected one another. So that is the best teacher to ask. Somebody that you have that great relationship with. And I have had great recommendation letters. You have to be careful, be respectful through the year. I remember many, many years ago from this school that I received a call from a teacher who said, I am withdrawing my recommendation letter. And I read it, and she said, this young lady babysat for her children. So she thought the world of her. She had her in her home. Unfortunately, she caught the girl stealing from her later in the year. She had every right to pull that recommendation letter. That would make that student's application not complete because there was not a rec letter. The student was not admitted to Michigan. So be respectful, right? Hard lessons learned. And the teachers have a right to do that. They definitely do. But I'll never forget that, okay? So I get wonderful letters, glowing letters from teachers here. They get to know you. They say wonderful things about you. So ask that teacher that you feel really close with, and you'll have a good one. But one letter is all we require. A counselor can also write a letter. Let's say you've had some personal adversity throughout your life, and you want to talk to your counselor. I have worked with this staff for many years. They're amazing. Okay, they pick up the phone. They call me. We have a really good relationship. So if you have a question, if you want them to add something for you that you don't necessarily want to put in your application, talk with them about that. Okay, so I can see the whole picture. There is a part in the application where you can talk about COVID interruptions or anything that's personal adversity. You don't have to spend time on an essay talking about it necessarily, but you can write a small little paragraph about something that impacted you that you want me to know about when I'm looking at your application. All right? So, we got that. One recommendation from a teacher, right? Just one is all I need. All right, I'm going to do questions at the end, so remember what you guys want to ask, okay? So, the last thing I want to talk about that I look for in the application are essays. All right? How many of you that are seniors have finished your essay? All 3 of your essays for Michigan are done. Okay, great. All right, I've been told that I'm reading the final copy tonight at my house after work, so I'm excited about that. So I was woken up Thursday, 11:30. I went to bed early because we had a program in Lansing on Friday. I had to leave my house at 5 a.m., so I went to bed a little early at 11:30. My son jumped on the bed. Mom, are you sleeping? Yeah, I was. Okay, I finished my first paragraph. Can I please read it to you? He was, so excited. It was fabulous. I'm so glad he woke me. It was so good. So that first paragraph in an essay captures someone's attention, all right? Draw the reader in. So spend some time on that. The Common App has 7 prompts. Pick the one that speaks to you, not necessarily the same one that your best friend's picking. You pick the one that makes sense to you. My middle daughter asked me when she was applying to college, Mom, I have 3 ideas for a subject for my essay. I want to write about 1, 2, or 3. Which one should I do? I could have very easily said which one I thought was best. I said, okay, Lauren, you have to realize the people that are reading this you probably will never meet. They're virtually strangers. What do you want them to know about you that's not already in your application, or a little bit more about something that's in your application? And what are you most passionate about? She said, topic number 3. That's the one I would have picked too. But I let her decide, because only you know what you're most excited about. And when you're excited about that, you're going to do a great job writing that essay. So it needs to be your voice. My oldest daughter has a friend, and many years ago, her mom called and said, would you mind looking at her essay? Sure. Send it to me. I've known this girl since she was 3. She's very vibrant. She's very outgoing. She's involved in a million things, right? I opened this essay. It made my head hurt. I don't understand what the focus was. It was all over the place. It made no sense to me as the reader. So I called her and I said, Amanda, what is going on with this essay? It's making my head hurt. I have no idea what direction you're going in. This is just, it's not flowing. What is the purpose? And she's like, oh, I know. My mom and 4 of her friends edited it. Oh, so it reads like 5 50-year-olds as opposed to a 17-year-old. That makes sense. I said, you need to write your own essay in your voice. We know, I've been doing this for over 30 years. When I see an essay that was used, AI was used, I know that. It's not your own voice. It's not going to get a good read for me if I think that you did not read it or write it. So write your own words. All right, very important. Community essay, my favorite essay. So what is your community? So anyone, what's your community? Yep. JV soccer? All right. What position do you play? Good. All right. Anybody else in a community? Yep. Marching band, yes. I'm president of our music boosters. I love music. All right. Anybody else? What's your community? Yep. I can't hear you, I'm sorry. Taekwondo? Great. Okay, martial art community. Awesome. All right. Anybody else have a different community that they're writing about? Winter Guard. Good. Yep. What? Religious community. Good. Dance. Oh, thank you. All right. You heard me before? Okay, good. Yeah, she's good. Okay, so let me tell you about a dance essay. All right. So my kids all 3 danced at a studio with this young lady many years ago. And she's a family friend, so she came over to my house and she brought her essay and we were looking over it. And I've known this girl, again, vibrant young lady, you know, really passionate, great dancer. And I said, you know, she talked about how she loved dance. She spent 6 out of 7 days at the studio and that she was a role model in her dance studio, but it didn't wow me. I said, okay, I'm kind of bored. I said, so I need you to take it a little further. So I said, what sets you apart? There's a lot of people that dance, right? So when we're reading your essay, how is it going to stand apart? So I said, what were you doing last December, that first weekend? She said, oh, I was in the Nutcracker Ballet. I said, yes, and what role did you play? She's like, well, I played Clara, which is a pivotal role if you've ever seen the Nutcracker. So I said, okay, when you were off stage, before you first danced onto the stage, what was going through your mind? So she started taking notes. And I said, what was going through your mind at the end of the performance when you lifted the Nutcracker over your head to signify the end? So she was taking all these notes. I said, you know, you said that you're a role model. Let me tell you about being a role model. I saw the little dancers crowded around you, and you got to their level and you talked with them. You were caring. You also, that year, my daughter was in 8th grade. You wrote her a note, as you did many of the dancers. You said you loved watching her light up the stage, and that one day, too, she would be Clara. That meant the world to my daughter. It meant the world to my husband and I as parents. It really did. What she doesn't know, and this has happened much later, when my daughter graduated from high school and went off to college, and parents do this just to warn you, I was cleaning her room, and I was going through some of her drawers, and I opened her nightstand, and in that nightstand was that letter. It's still there today, and she just graduated college. She was in 8th grade when that young lady wrote her that letter. Do you know how much that means to somebody? If you have any exposure to a younger student, write them a letter. Encourage them. In the days that I have seen in the past years, especially since the pandemic, I have seen so many students struggle with anxiety and depression. You could save somebody's life, literally. Writing them a letter, telling them what you think, positive letter, right? How you value them. So think about that if you have any kind of experience with younger ones, whether it's at church or anywhere in the community. Consider writing them a little note, all right? Really important. So then I said, okay, so you want to be a teacher, right? She said, I do. I said, what do you do on Saturday mornings? She said, oh, I teach ballet to the 5-year-olds before my class. I said, that needs to be in your application essay. You don't talk about that. I need you to put all of these things in there. And that happened. The next day, she sent me her final essay, and I was wowed. It really impressed me. I didn't have to be at that Nutcracker performance. I didn't have to know her. It came alive on paper. All of you are part of a community. You can do that. It's your voice. Don't be stressed. Just tell me your story. All right, what do you love about it? It can be anything. My middle daughter's, one of her best friends is at Michigan, a junior there now. She wrote her community essay about being part of the 2% club. Anybody have any idea what that would be? 2% club. Trying to see if anybody here. Yep. Left-handed, that's a great one. Yes, exactly. Being ginger, okay? So she talked about that. She talked about how when she walks down the street and she sees other redheads, that they smile at one another, and she's excited to go to the University of Michigan and meet other redheads, but she's also excited to meet brown and blonde and no hairs and purple hair and blue hair, and she's just excited to expand her horizons. And it was a very lighthearted, fun, great essay, all right? That's what we want, all right? That's really what we want. Why Michigan? That essay. So Brittany, my oldest, when she was doing her essays, her best friend Maggie came over one day. She saw an essay pulled up on her computer, and she read it, and she said, wow, I had no idea that this was your top choice. And Brittany said, well, actually, it probably isn't. It's probably toward the bottom. She said, but Maggie, think about this. Why would I apply to a college that I don't want to go to? I'm not going to waste my time or my parents' money. Or why would I do that? She said, of course, this is somewhere I would go. And if I'm not admitted to the ones higher up on my list, I'm going to be happy here. So I wrote about when I visited what I loved about it and how I can see myself there. Why I'm applying. That's what she talked about. She was admitted there. I wish she would have went because I really like the Thai food, but no, that's okay. She ended up where she needed to be, and it was an amazing fit for her. So that is really important. But take the things that you love about it. Don't say, I've been to every football game since I was 3, all right? Or I've been at, Chrysler Arena. Nope, I was born with a Michigan onesie. I've seen that so many times. Let's talk about why you want to go there. Maybe your parents graduated from there. Why do you want to go there? So I want to hear about that. So talk about that in your Why Michigan essay. Again, why are you applying? So those are the things that we're looking at when I'm determining admissibility for your application. GPA, test scores, curriculum, rigor, leadership, community service, volunteerism, recommendation letter, and your essays. That is what we will spend our time looking at. All right? Once we've evaluated your application, you will receive a decision. Typically, it's by the end of January. As long as I've been there, 29 years and 2 weeks, it has been on a Friday. It's never the last Friday of January. And a little way to figure out, don't call me and ask me when it's going to come out. Don't look at College Confidential. That's not going to be valid for you. So pull up your portal, because you'll all have access to that, maybe on a Thursday later in January. If it is saying that you don't have access, that's a clue, because that means we're loading the decisions on that Thursday. So then you will know at 3 o'clock on Friday that you should look and see what your decision is. All right? That's how it works. If you're admitted, yes, celebrate. All right? If you are deferred or postponed, you need to say, okay, is this where I really want to be? If you're still interested, you can check a demonstrated interest flag or demonstrated interest box on your portal. It'll give you instructions to say, if you're still interested, do this, and then you could submit a 250-word why you're still interested. I want to tell you, none of you should be paying anyone to write that for you. There is a person who used to work in our office that's out there, and she's charging. I think West Bloomfield High School students and families used her. It didn't work out for them. So I would not do that. I would write it from your own words why you want to go. All right? It's a small little thing. Check the box if you're still interested in being considered. We also need to see grades from your first semester here in high school, your senior year. So you'll send those in to us, and we'll evaluate those as well and see if you're still being considered. Then by our regular decision deadline, once that's February 1st, we're going to review all those applications. Once we have our class pretty much solidified, we'll see how much space we have left, and then we will take some additional students that applied during EA. All right, that can happen later in February, that can happen in March. Usually by the first week of April, we pretty much have our class set. We do offer, then we'll send out denies at that time, some more admits, and we may send out waitlist options. If you are given a waitlist option and Michigan is your #1 choice, accept the waitlist. If you've already moved on, say, I've moved on, and I'm gonna get ready to celebrate that fit that I picked, and I'm gonna do great, and my parents can plan my grad party, and we can order the right color balloons and everything else, right? So you need to know that going in. This past year, we were told by our provost that they wanted to grow our class. I don't know if you saw in the news, we are now the largest university in terms of numbers in the state. So we're really proud of that with our graduate and undergraduate combined and transfer students. So we did expand our freshman class last year by a little bit. And so we were able to go to our wait list. We typically don't do that in a lot of years. This year we know our target going in, so it's not going to be last minute. So we'll probably admit a little bit more along the way is my understanding. So maybe, again, not thinking, oh my gosh, last year I knew 4 people that got in off the wait list from my high school, so, you know, fingers crossed I'm going to be one of them. May not happen, all right? There's years where we don't go to the wait list at all. So it really determines how many of those students have paid an enrollment deposit by May 1 and say they're coming to determine how many more students we can take. All right, pay that enrollment deposit. It's non-refundable. It saves your spot in class, and we know you're coming. You can start planning ahead, and then get your football tickets and sign up for orientation and all those good things. All right, questions? Anything at all? Yep. Average class size. So we have classes where you're going to have 20 students in it, and then we're going to have classes of a couple hundred. So when you have over 100 in a class at the University of Michigan, you'll have a small group that meets also that week along with it that has 20 or less students. And that's a discussion-based class. Also, all professors are required to hold office hours. It is your responsibility to take initiative and attend those office hours. They always say, you know, I need students to come and see me at office hours. They don't come and visit me, and I'm bored. So go visit them. Be on their radar. Okay. Yep. So that's a great question. Thank you for asking that. So does it matter for the subject area for your recommendation letter? So yes and no. All right. So if that, chances are if you're going into engineering and you pick a STEM teacher, they know how passionate you are about that subject, so they can talk about that. Maybe you're in the robotics club with them, so they can talk about that. So, but it's not required. So if you are closer with another teacher, you know, in another subject, that's fine as well. But a lot of times, those are the ones that can comment on some of the other things that you've done outside of the classroom. All right. Did you guys play, I see your soccer shirt right there. Do you guys play Troy High? Tomorrow? You beat them? Oh, I'm so excited. Really? Good job. I'm giving you guys kudos. All right, question over here. So if essays are a theme, so I don't want every essay to be about the same subject. I find that the variety, like my daughter's friend with the, you know, the redhead essay, and then her other Common App was a lot more serious about a different topic. I think it's better to do that so I can show, you know, who you are as a person from a lot of different perspectives. Does that make sense? Okay. Other questions? You guys, does that mean they have to go back to class? Okay, so I want to. I want to give you guys my email, if you want to put that down. It's KJ Bryant, Bryant, like Kobe Bryant, at umich.edu. And feel free to reach out if you have questions. But good luck. I'm really excited to start reading your files. And go Blue.